Okay, one up and away.
Nigel Farrell's B&B is up and running in the Ardèche region of southern France. 10 guests have already passed through his doors.
Fromage de chèvre.
And as the business builds steadily through the summer, Serge, Nigel's landlord, starts to make big plans for next year.
3 bedrooms, 3 chambres.
3 chambres. Les Anglais seraient intéressés?
Oui.
Oui, oui.
But the hard grind of high season sees Nigel's enthusiasm begin to wane.
The question is, do we want to spend the rest of our days looking after B&B guests?
News of Chez Farrell is starting to travel, not only in England, thanks to friends of friends, but the local tourist office is also sending guests up the winding road from L'Argentière.
It's good for kids because there are lots of animals and stuff. Yeah, deer, donkeys.
But in this remote location, keeping guests amused is proving a bit of a problem. Some guests have checked out early and no one has said they'll be coming back. Repeat bookings are the bread and butter of the guest house trade, and Reza is concerned.
Well, we need to do something to promote. There's such heavy competition around. You need to keep them occupied with something. There needs to be some sort of activity, and you need to let people be aware of that.
I could do better on the sort of the leaflet front, couldn't I?
Yeah,
letting
but
people know literature and stuff.
Yes, if you can make a little effort, no one's saying that you've got to.
Maybe the 3 of us, while
sort of
you're
go in
here,
your face.
maybe we can make a combined effort to try and, liaise with the local tourist people and try and.
That's an idea. We can market.
We'll try and get a few more deals going, so we can say, look, if you go here, I can give you 15% off because of all that business.
So the 3 friends investigate local activities. Reza has chosen the gentleman's art of horse riding and does his best to haggle.
My friend has a gîte. If we bring a group, say 6 people, would there be a discount?
Discount.
Discount. Discount.
Group.
Group, yeah, group.
Oui, OK. C'est bon?
Yeah, c'est bon.
Having secured a 1/3 off for Nigel's guests, Reza goes for a test drive.
Oh my God, I've got this big one.
C'est Bohème.
A Bohème. Oh, you're so lovely. Hello, darling. Heavens above, right, OK.
Oui, vas-y. Là. Allez.
Allez, allez. Oh, oi, oi.
Tout ça.
Oi, oi.
Oh, Bohème. Oh.
Sally Ann's mission is finding fun for thrill seekers.
How high do we go?
Around 500 meters.
500 meters.
Yeah.
In feet?
In feet, 1,500.
It sounds higher in feet.
Sally Ann is soon 1,500 feet above her own tent. And for once, she's wishing she was safely inside it.
I want people to have a good time and go back home and tell everybody about it. Because the one biggest thing about chambre d'hôte and small hotels is word of mouth. And if in these early weeks I have to make a big effort to impress people, then I'll do it. It's fine.
Nigel's assignment brings him to Nîmes, only an hour's drive from Chez Farrell.
The reason I've come here today is because there's a bullfight, apparently, in the Roman amphitheatre here. And I'm told that in France the bullfights aren't anything like as savage as the Spanish ones. They don't actually kill the bull, they just slightly irritate it. And I just thought it might be quite an interesting and exciting place for the visitors to the B&B to come and see. Because it's got music and it's got colour, and providing they don't actually kill the bulls, I think people might quite enjoy it.
This ancient amphitheatre holds 20,000 people and has been the premier bullfighting venue outside Spain for the last 200 years. It's always packed for the bullfighting festivals. There's no doubt the locals love the spectacle. The excitement is rising in the arena, but Nigel suddenly feels very much the Englishman abroad. Horse riding, however, seems to be something even a city boy can enjoy.
Allez.
Loving it. It's fantastic. I've developed a wonderful relationship with Bohème. Come on, darling.
Back in Nîmes, the bullfight draws towards a bloody conclusion.
Well, I don't think that's quite the kind of thing my customers at the B&B are going to like at all. I didn't think they were going to kill them. I thought it was horrifying. I mean, at least give the bull a chance. That's just simply sadistic to torture it like that with all those 5 guys. This is a big mistake coming here.
Guests are flying in this morning, and Sally Ann is on pickup duty.
Ah, Lloyd James. Ah oui, bonjour.
Ah, Duncan?
Ah oui?
Oui, Sally Ann. Very nice to meet you. Welcome to France.
Merci.
John.
My darling.
Martin.
There we are.
Are you out here for any particular reason, or are you just visiting the Ardèche?
A bit of time off to start with.
Yeah.
Historically, of course, Avignon. It's a very historic area from the Roman historical point of view, and of course from the point of view of the papacy. Churches, anything of great history is the thing. There may be a drop of vino in between. You know. Yeah.
Well, I love your hats. I think your hats are fantastic.
That's a holy hat, that. That's the real holy hat.
And indeed, all Sally Ann's passengers are holy men.
Father Duncan, of course, is my son, rector of Breed and Udimore, right the other end of the Holy Diocese of Chichester. I'm at Bishopstone. Dr. Martin was church warden at my last parish, and of course still a...
Father John is an old friend of Nigel's.
You know that Monsieur Le Farel, who owns it?
Yes.
You're so beautiful. I mean, where do you fit in, dear? Because being a holy man, I like to know where the jigsaw is, you know?
Oh, I see.
Yeah,
So if we were...
is he la ferme? Oh.
If we were conducting a sort of over-the-brush kind of relationship, you wouldn't be happy
Oh, I
with
like that. It's made my bonnet sweat. You still haven't answered my question, young lady.
Are we all ready?
What a lovely spot. Yeah.
All right, follow me.
What a lovely spot.
It is beautiful, isn't it?
Is the boss about? Nigel. Monsieur.
Welcome.
Lovely to see you.
Sally Ann's just told me they're all vicars, they're all priests. My God, I don't know whether I should kneel in abeyance or just prostrate myself and say, I have a confession to make.
There's not traffic noise, that's the problem.
It's the corks.
Good health. Cheers.
Off the leash and out of their dog collars, the reverends are looking forward to a night of wine and song. And the campers at Chez Farel are in for a stormy night. Overnight, the Ardèche has been hit by a violent summer storm. And Nigel's sun-baked shady glade is now looking more like a bad day at Glastonbury. Up at the B&B, the 3 men of the church have been promised an early breakfast, but the weather has put paid to that.
What a night. It was a torrential, I mean, you heard the storms last night, the lightning. And we were bloody lucky. Look, we were in the inner sanctum. This was in with us. But look, that's all mud.
Look, it's just... Oh, God, I've just found your toothbrush.
Plant's got a good watering night.
Listen, the plants, this is an absolute miracle that the plants have survived. Because if we put the vegetable patch there, it would have gone. It would have been down in the river now. You see the pigs, this is the best thing.
But the hen house hasn't fared so well.
I'm going to have to repair this tonight because the foxes will get in there.
And rounding up the hens is a bit of a challenge.
Chuk, 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 chuk. Oh, you got one. You're brilliant.
Sal, you just have to go for it. Don't muck about, just go for it.
Fresh from his dry hotel,
Reza
is slightly more adept.
Go for it, yeah, good, good, good.
Fantastic!
Their efforts provide a welcome distraction for the neighbours.
Rez, grab the bloody thing. Reza, this isn't funny, mate. Can you stop laughing? Go round the other side and bring her back in this direction. What a star, Reza. Well done.
With all the hens captured, Nigel can finally turn his attention to breakfast, vicar's style. It's the big trip today.
Right, are we singing hymns on the way down?
This rain dampens one's spirit.
As well as that famous bridge, Avignon is home to the spectacular Pope's Palace. For a short time in the 1300s, this was the seat of the Christian church. And while they were here, the popes blew a lot of money on grand architecture.
My word.
Father John corners Nigel, keen to find out if he has honourable intentions towards Sally Ann.
It's interesting to meet Sally.
She's great, isn't she?
Oh, right, yes.
You've got a bit of a soft spot for her.
Oh, she's lovely. Yeah. You love her?
Yeah. Yes, I do, yeah.
What's going to come of it then? Is marriage on the highlight, or...?
Well, I think probably take it one day at a time.
But even without the promise of a ring, Sally Ann is happy to knuckle down and get the B&B routine running like clockwork. Daily life soon becomes a comfortable routine of laundry, light farming and lazy evenings.
Should we stay in tonight? A quiet night in.
As the weeks go by, they get used to every type of guest passing through their doors.
That's fine. And what time do you think you'll be arriving?
10?
In May and June, they make a loss, but in July, they break even. It's a promising beginning for their fledgling business.
Good, looking forward to seeing you. Okay, bye-bye.
And the best thing about running a B&B is that all the work is done by lunchtime, leaving Nigel and Sally Ann plenty of free time to relax and enjoy the beautiful countryside around their home. Maryse, who lives next door, likes to keep a close eye on the progress of Les Anglais, and Nigel's only too pleased to satisfy her curiosity.
Comment ça va, la chambre d'hôte?
Ah, super, super. Beaucoup de...
Vous avez beaucoup de clients?
Oui, j'espère. Beaucoup de téléphones, beaucoup de réservations. Hein?
Beaucoup de petit déjeuner.
Une bonne cuisinière?
Oui.
Oui. Avant, non. Maintenant, oui.
Avant.
Serge Lalouse, Nigel's landlord, is more interested in the B&B's books than its breakfasts, and he's noticed the low profits. But today, Nigel can reveal very promising pre-bookings for August.
Rentable, très rentable, intéressant. Ouais. Ah oui, très intéressant. Ouais. En augmentant un peu le tarif de nuit.
Oui, 35 euros.
35, ouais,
35.
Facile.
Serge, encouraged by their chat, has a proposal for Nigel.
Cette maison est libre?
Oui.
Et votre?
Oui, c'est à nous.
Oui,
Oui.
Farming is a hard way to make a living, and Serge is keen to convert more of his excess land and property into tourist euros next year.
And you speak English?
Sally Ann, meanwhile, really has her work cut out earning this year's tourist euros.
Bonjour, bon matin. Hello.
Good morning.
Would you like coffee or orange juice or jus d'orange café?
Jus d'orange, s'il vous plaît.
Oui.
There's no champagne, isn't that the French style?
No I'm sorry, it's the wrong part of the country. The breakfast is all laid out inside.
We have to get it ourselves.
I'm afraid so.
Il y a trois chambres, un grand séjour et une salle de bain, une cuisine, terrasse, cave en dessous.
3 bedrooms, 3 chambres.
3 chambres. C'est pour 6 personnes. Les Anglais seraient intéressés?
Oui.
Oui?
Oui. Ah. What he's suggesting is maybe we could make this into a gîte, an autre gîte, pour le prochain.
Voilà, un gîte, ouais.
He thinks it could work. Since the B&B's done quite well, this could work as a place for British people to come and stay, and we could run this together.
Voulez-vous une œuf? We have farmhouse fresh eggs. If you'd like an œuf, I can boil it, or I can fry it, or I can omelette it.
Could I have it boiled?
Yes.
But very particularly sort of...
How?
Not less than 4.
Okay.
But not more than about 4 3/4. Do you do soldiers?
On a encore autre chose.
Une autre maison?
Oui.
Non.
Si.
Là?
Oui.
Et votre?
Oui.
Maison aussi?
Oui.
Personne là?
Oui.
Possible 6. Personne là, possible 6 personnes là.
Si, ouais.
13 personnes en total.
Ouais.
C'est possible.
Business.
Business. He's keen.
Business avec les Anglais.
He's keen, yeah.
Right, thank you very
Lovely
much.
trip. Yeah. Be safe.
August is more than fulfilling its promise as a busy month. Sally Ann and Nigel find themselves on a treadmill of chores. For Nigel, it's all proving a bit of a shock.
I mean, it's great, you know, it's everything that I thought it would be. It's just a bit relentless. That's the only thing, you know. Up every morning, bloody eggs and bacon. And the other thing which I hadn't really thought too much about was by 12 o'clock the day's finished. That's it, and there's nothing to do, which to start with was great, and now isn't so great.
Then Nigel gets a call which throws his new life in France into question.
I had a call from that bloke, the sailing boat.
Oh, yeah.
Nice guy. Nice boat.
Yes.
Now things are sort of beginning to tick over a bit. I thought I might pop down there. What do you think? Why are you looking at me like that?
Well, just because, as you said...
For the day?
For the day, fine. Just seems, as you just said, you know, things have just got into their stride now. We know what we're doing, and we're kind of in a routine, and, you know, we're not nervous about it anymore.
But it just seems a good opportunity. And, you know, whilst it's still, the weather's good, it seems silly not to go down there.
Yeah. Sounds great. Call me and tell me how good it is.
Oh, well.
With Sally Ann's somewhat reluctant agreement, Nigel gets on to his friend Manu straight away, who arranges a trip to Marseille, where he's got lots of seafaring connections. Marseille moors some of the finest pleasure boats and racing vessels in the world.
I can't believe how many boats there are here. There's millions and millions and millions of pounds here.
Yes, it's the biggest harbour in south of France.
This is just amazing. And I'm thinking people from the B&B could come down here. And this is Marie, she's the owner of the boat. This has to be the most beautiful boat I've ever seen. I mean, it's just, I mean, this is as it was virtually in 1938. Teak decking, hasn't got any railings, twin sail, huge mainsail, To the height of the mast. She's a serious sailor. And this is a racing boat, basically. So it must have cost an absolute fortune. It's like, she must be loaded.
So how...
And she's going to Italy. Tomorrow. She's sailing to Italy. She's going to Corsica and then on to a little port called Santa Stefano.
How do you know?
Because she's a mate of Manu's. And she said, if you want to come with me, a trip, there are 4 guys going. If you want to join me, come.
Well, are you going to go?
I might. It's tempting, isn't it? Don't you think?
And long before the sun has made it over the yardarm, they're into a boozy lunch, and a well-oiled Nigel is eagerly trying to prove some sailing prowess.
I've been there, the Straits of Bonifacio, I know that. And the Costa Smeralda, it's here. I was there when I was 19. Yes, Porto-Cervo, yes, when I was 19, which is many years ago now. But I was on a boat and I went there, and we cruised down to Stromboli, further down, the island of Stromboli with the volcanic... Superb. You've been there?
Sally Ann's day is definitely less glamorous.
He's got the allure of the sea on him. He's hitched up with a Salt Hill sea dog who's going to take him out in his boat, I think.
And I mean, you're happy with that? I mean,
well, this was not what I was expecting, I must admit.
I would have thought Nigel should be here looking after his animals, though. I mean, that's what he wanted to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? He's just having a good time, which is good, because he's worked very hard and he needs a break, and that's really good. I'm really pleased for him.
But even Nigel decides that a 4-day trip with Marie will be pushing it. However, giddy with wine and sea tales, he heads into the marina with Manu, who has another friend's boat to nose around.
Like the sails?
This one.
Je suis Nigel.
Nigel.
Enchanté à vous.
Fantastic
Look at the size of this.
Yes.
Can you believe you're actually on a boat? This is like a hotel. It's fantastic.
It's the sort of boat that little boys and big ones dream of.
Nigel, comme il est heureux là. Philippe would like to exchange the bed and breakfast, and you take the boat.
Done. No problem.
The carafe de vin fuels his enthusiasm, and when Nigel spots a for sale sign, an ambitious and some would say slightly reckless plan starts to form.
Pardon? Avant est possible pour moi voir? Oui. Combien d'euros?
À la vente, 32 000.
32,000.
Which is 21,000
Around
pounds.
20,000 pounds. Yeah.
Combien lits? Combien de lits?
2.
2 ici.
1.
And you have...
Et 1,5.
Yes.
Gimbal stove.
Au bois, là c'est du bronze.
Frigo ici.
Yes.
12, 220 et gaz.
And these the original?
Oui, c'est en pin d'Oregon.
Well, on the face of it, I think it's absolutely beautiful. I'm serious about thinking about buying it, yes. This is exactly the kind of thing that I could live on and do a long passage on and possibly sail around the world on. Est-ce que possible pour moi et circulation tout le monde dans ce bateau? C'est possible? Oui, je pense, je crois. Oui, c'est possible. It would be fantastic to just, get on board a boat, leave everything behind and just set sail for the horizon and, spend maybe 9 months a year cruising around the Med.
But you wanted to do the B&B though, you wanted to do the restaurant. I mean, what's to say you won't want to do this in 6 months' time?
I know, but this is something I've always wanted to do. I've not always wanted to open up a B&B. That was just a means to an end, to stay in France, But this, I can see myself doing this. I really can. I'd love to do it.
Although the effects of the alcohol subside, the excitement of this new venture doesn't. Nigel heads home for an explosive conversation with Sally Ann. Nigel has returned from Marseille with a plan for a new adventure sailing the high seas. He's determined to escape the drudgery of running a B&B.
How do you feel about it?
How do you feel about it?
Well, The question is, you know, do we want to spend the rest of our days looking after B&B guests?
Isn't that what you thought you wanted to do at the beginning
Yes.
of the season?
Yeah.
And
No,
you
it
came
is,
over
and
here
it's-
and you said to me that this is what you really want to do.
It is, and it's good,
So-
and it's lovely, but
yeah. But what?
I was bewitched by the Ardèche, and I wanted, you know, I wanted to stay, and I want to stay here, but it's like a new love affair. After a while, it's sort of the passion slightly begins to go. No, you know what I mean? No, but you know what I mean? It's sort of...
Where
there's
does
a
that
kind of
put me then? Are you going to get tired of me after a couple of seasons and decide it's too much hard work?
No, but the cliche is, isn't it?
Really, you've got to make your mind up. For God's sake, Nigel, you're over 50. So, you know, sort it out. You've already come to the decision, haven't you?
No, I haven't, not at all. No, I haven't, not at all.
Is this really the end of his dreams of living in the Ardèche? It was over 4 years ago that Nigel first stumbled on the region when he and his neighbour Nippy Singh were searching for a location for their French holiday home. It was love at first sight.
On nearly every hill, in a beautiful little orangey, yellowy stone village that presumably has been there on a hilltop for defensive reasons from centuries ago.
Absolutely.
Are we agreed? We found the right place?
Yes.
All we need to do is find a house.
Absolutely. That's all. Why not?
I think I can say without any fear of exaggerations, this is one of the most fantastic views I've ever seen.
Absolutely.
Stunning.
Can you imagine, you know, you're sitting here, me on the barbecue.
Indian curry.
Indian curry? No, you don't cook curry on a barbecue. God, I mean, you are pathetic.
Why not? What's wrong?
No, you don't do that.
On
You
a
don't
pot?
cook curry on barbecue. Curry is liquid.
But you can do it in a pot. On
Yeah,
the
you're in a
barbecue.
pot on a bar, but you would do that in a kitchen. That's where you do it. I mean,
It soon becomes clear that the two friends can't agree about anything.
So this is it?
Yeah, this is it.
So finding a house that suits them both is going to be very tricky.
Both are being lived in.
I mean, it was you that said originally, location, 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 wasn't it? Yeah. And I'm not sure at all about this location. I mean, you look out of that window. Well, you look out of that window, and what do you see? You see brickwork and you see masonry, don't you? Wouldn't it be far more sensible to buy somewhere much smaller, much more modest?
There aren't any.
No, there are some. We'll find some smaller, but in a place which has at least got a decent view, Nippy.
And Nigel's choices don't suit Nippy.
So I know it's very thin and very small, but this is one which you won't find anywhere else.
Yeah.
That, to me, makes this property.
I can't even tie my turban here. This is so tiny.
You can't tie your turban?
Yeah.
Why? What's the matter with
Yeah.
How much space do you need to tie your turban?
About 5.5 meters worth of length, 6 meters worth of length.
You need a room of 6 meters long to tie your turban.
Yeah,
Why?
to set it out.
Why do you need to do that?
Turban is about 5.5, 6 meters long.
That's 6 meters?
Yeah, absolutely.
But after looking at 25 houses in 6 weeks, estate agent Manu finally shows them a property they both agree on.
This is the courtyard, private courtyard. And you've got downstairs, you've got 3 rooms. Then in the main room, you can make a new floor to have a new room upstairs.
The rural 16th century farmhouse is on at only £15,000. It needs a lot of renovation, but has plenty of room for stretching turbans.
The journey was worth it. What a sensational view. And I can just imagine sitting here with cucumber sandwiches and strawberries and cream and maybe a little petit vin and admiring what has to be the best view that we've seen.
Oblivious to the £85,000 it's going to cost to rebuild their dream home, Nigel and Nippy celebrate the start of their French adventure. And the cost of these renovations is more than financial.
All we have to do is just lower this floor.
Lower the floor?
Yeah.
The least of our problems is lowering the floor. You've got a good view that way.
Wow, what good view?
You've got fantastic views from the terrace.
During the
so
day.
what is the point in blocking off the one source of light that we've got for this room?
Right. Would you like a glass of water?
And finally, almost a year after they first started their search, work on Nigel and Nippy's holiday home begins.
Ah, Monsieur Galette. Bonjour.
Nigel stays on in France to act as a project manager and to attempt to work as a labourer. With the house uninhabitable and renovations swallowing up all his spare cash, Nigel decides to camp.
It's so beautiful, and I just thought it would be lovely, since we bought this house, to stay up here and to savour, you know, the atmosphere and the tranquility, and to stay here and save a little bit on the hotel bill too. My fingers are so cold, I don't even know whether I'm going to be able to operate the corkscrew. It is bitterly cold.
It's a massive task. Almost everything in the farmhouse needs to be stripped back and rebuilt. All the walls are dry-lined, the roof is replaced and an entire new first floor created. As money gets tighter and tighter, friends and neighbours pitch in to help. And slowly, a beautiful house emerges.
God save our gracious Queen. Yeah, baby! Merci, merci à tous.
After 6 months of hard work, Nigel and Nippy are the proud owners of a fully restored 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom farmhouse in the Ardèche. And even the mayor turns up for the housewarming.
Je vous décore l'ordre de votre comme une fée, la baguette magique.
Very nice and light.
Nice and light. Très belle. Très belle.
Nigel and Nippy soon settled into making the most of their French holiday home.
Nigel, the only consolation you have is you're too old to die young. This is superb, nice. Look at that. Beautiful.
And it's not just the beautiful scenery Nigel's finding irresistible. He soon falls for the charms of his mortgage broker, Celine.
It's the hardest part. The car has to work hard. Oops, hang on. Faut que je pousse. Oh, in the wrong gear. Ah, c'est bon.
C'est bon.
C'est bon. Vous êtes marié?
Non.
Non? Seulement?
Divorcé.
Divorcé? Encore? Comme moi?
Within a few weeks, Celine and Nigel are dating.
C'est moi. Celine, chérie. How are you, baby?
Comment tu vas?
What do you think?
C'est tout beau.
Can we go swimming together?
Swimming? Nude. I don't have my bikini.
Nude's fine. Sounds great.
It's Celine who first tempts Nigel with the idea of making a permanent life in France.
Et tu as envie de rester en Angleterre?
En Angleterre? Oui, pourquoi non?
Pourquoi tu viendrais pas habiter ici, en Ardèche?
La première
You
fois...
can see me all the time.
Ah, that would be lovely.
And so Nigel's ill-fated new life in France begins.
This place? Yes, baby. For us to take over? Yes.
He needs to find a way of making a living. His dream is to open the very first Indian restaurant in the Ardèche, a man whose mother just happens to have a restaurant to rent.
And are you serious in this suggestion?
She likes the idea of the extra income.
Yes, I am serious.
But there's one hitch. He's never run a restaurant before, let alone an Indian one. So Nigel returns to London to seek the advice of an acknowledged expert, Reza Mohammed.
Reza, how do you do? Nice to meet you.
Reza is the owner of one of the longest established Indian restaurants in London. He has serious doubts about the proposal.
I think you're absolutely out of your mind, considering where it's going to be, this restaurant.
Why though? Why do you
Because
say
it's
that?
in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I know, but that's its appeal.
You must be mad. You must be stark raving mad. Completely.
I like that response, because it's an original idea.
Despite his reservations, Nigel persuades him to come to France anyway to check out the restaurant. But warning bells are already ringing for Reza.
So tandoori is definitely out. I've only just seen it, so I'm a bit shocked by the size of it. Literally, I'm absolutely shocked. So I just need to sort of sit down and sort of absorb this and quietly think of the next plan of action. It's got a lovely charm. It's a very nice restaurant. It's rustic. It's lovely. There are positive sides to it, but I'm just thinking.
Nigel hopes that meeting Celine might convince Reza there really is a market for Indian cuisine in the south of France.
Reza.
Hello.
Reza, Celine.
I've not noticed one Indian restaurant here. I thought, there could be a market for it, but from your experience, what do you think? Would an Indian restaurant work in this area?
All of you, Nigel, it's a good idea.
Right.
I am a good idea.
Oh, yeah.
Can I have
You
some?
want?
So romantic. God, it makes me scream. Makes me feel sick.
What?
Nothing.
Bumbling away.
Chestnut is better.
Pray continue. Pay no attention to me.
With a mix.
But as the wine flows, Reza decides the challenge is too exciting to turn down. The restaurant needs to be completely redecorated to Reza's specifications before reopening, and a friend of Nigel's from London offers to help out. Sally Ann is between jobs and quite fancies a month or two in the south of France.
It's just, I knew, this is exactly how I wanted it.
I tell you what.
I'm excited. We need to get these. Are these polished? Have you been polishing this? No, not yet. I'm thrilled. You did a fantastic job.
Oh, was it? Come and see outside. Come and see outside.
But you've done a brilliant job. Well done.
Yeah.
I like it. I really like it.
L'été Indien even has its own van decorated in appropriate colours.
My darling, I love it.
In we go. We need to ride in this chariot of fire.
Oh my God.
On est heureux comme des poissons dans l'eau, sur le plancher des vaches. On peut gâcher dans tous les capoulots, sur le plancher.
Then just as everything is ready, there's a major blow. Days before opening night, the chef Reza has hired pulls out.
The invitations are all printed for July the 4th.
Well, we'll have to postpone it.
The mayor's booked.
We have to postpone it. I know it sounds ridiculous. I know it's not funny.
It's not a joke.
It's always, the problem is, you know, when you set up a restaurant, you're bound to expect a few hiccups.
Yeah, I know,
and this is one of the dramas of running and setting up a restaurant.
I know, but this is like serious. Everything's arranged. We're actually never going to find somebody in 2 weeks.
We will find someone. Trust me, I will find someone for you.
Get them up here, train them up and running for July the 4th.
4th I can't, but it may be a week later.
So
it may be a week, actually.
The inauguration is off, basically.
True to his word, Reza finds a new chef. And Nippy turns up to lend a hand for the opening night.
Hi, Nippy. Hi, how are you? I heard a lot about you.
How are you?
How are you? I love your wonderful turban.
Yeah? Don't tell me you haven't seen a turban.
Well, no, I haven't. But it's so in perfect condition. It's too neat. I don't see them so perfect. Yeah.
Where did he get him? I don't know. He fell out of a tree.
But they need a big idea to launch it.
Darling, you're not going to believe it, but I am on an elephant, my dear. You are not going to believe this.
Yeah.
Maybe no. I'm in the middle of France on an elephant.
Although predictably pedantic Nippy is not impressed.
Supposed to get Indian elephant, not African elephant.
I have worked really hard to find an elephant, right, in France. There aren't many elephants in France, and now you're complaining that it's the wrong bloody elephant.
Nigel, they know we've arrived in the Ardèche now, you know that. The Indians are coming, the Indians are here.
So are you happy about the fact this is an African elephant?
It doesn't matter, we have an elephant. I don't give a damn. Oh my God, baby!
Much to Nigel's relief, the villagers turn out in force for the opening night. And the exotic fare seems to go down well.
Super. Super. Vous pensez que ça va marcher en Ardèche? Ben j'espère. Enfin, je suis une des premières clientes, j'habite juste à côté alors.
It's the best start Nigel could hope for, but then Celine puts a cloud on the French dream.
I'm not a girl for you, you know.
Why not?
I'm so young.
So what? Is that important? Does that matter?
Nigel has launched a business, but lost the girl who inspired it. But it's only the start of his problems. Over the coming weeks, Nigel's French dream will go badly wrong. Nigel Farrell has opened the first Indian restaurant in the Ardèche. Trade is brisk and sometimes it's difficult to keep up with demand.
How much vodka do you have?
This is all the vodka we have in the place.
Well, what happens if they ask for the vodka special? That's the special bit, no vodka. My back is seriously in danger of going.
I think Nigel's having a very tough time. He didn't realise how hard it was going to be.
But as the summer comes to an end, things start to go seriously wrong. First, Reza comes off his motor bicyclette.
It's got septic, it's got an infection. So I've decided I'm going to go to London.
Really? But why? Can't you
Well, if I'm off for a month, then you know, I don't know the language. There's no point me hanging around.
And then Sally Ann has to return to England too. Saying goodbye makes them both realise how close they've become.
Thanks for everything. You've been fantastic. Bye.
As winter sets in, business at the restaurant almost completely dries up, and Nigel is forced to close with huge debts.
40,000 euros?
Yes.
Which is £28,000. I don't have 28,000.
The house at Le Fabre has to be sold.
What would be good for me is a quick sale. Could we sell this quickly?
Homeless and broke, but that won't stop Nigel. He's determined to stay in France.
I've had an idea.
That's a good idea. No, stop it. Stop it.
It's lovely. It's very picturesque around here.
It is.
It's very picturesque.
The fact it's a farm.
Exactly, and it's not so far from town.
It's springtime, and Chez Farrell is born.
I don't know what possessed them to do this in yellow. It's a dreadful colour. Maybe do this in a lovely sort of a lilac-y blue. Marron Provence. Chestnuts in Provence. Perfect. Très français.
Great. Well, welcome. Bienvenue. You're my first proper paying guest.
But after a promising start, it's time for Nigel to take stock. Come October, and the B&B shuts up shop.
I mean, there's no way after the experiences of the restaurant last year that we were
Gonna
ever
do this
going to
over
keep
the
this
Absolutely, I
open
know.
during the winter. There's no way we're going to do that.
Absolutely.
So I think we've made the right decision to close it.
Reza has joined Nigel and Sally Ann to help take all the fixtures and fittings back to London.
I mean, what this year has shown is there is a demand. Whether one can actually make a long-term living from it
We didn't
or
make
not,
any money
I
from
don't
it, did
know.
we? We didn't actually...
Well, no, you wouldn't in the first year. No.
Right.
The one thing the last couple of years has really proved is, certainly for somebody in my time of life, you can go out and try these things.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
OK, the restaurant wasn't terribly successful, but the B&B clearly is.
So are you going to plan to open next year?
The truth is, do we really want to spend the rest of our lives running a B&B?
Fine, whatever you did, and to the best of your knowledge. Although you didn't listen, but never mind. Who am I to say anything anymore? But it's you, you know.
Am I going to be on my deathbed regretting that I tried to open a restaurant or a B&B that didn't particularly succeed?
You'll never regret.
Or am I going to be thinking, if only I'd had a go at that, if
Which
only
is
I'd
true.
lived a bit more, if only I'd stretched out a bit beyond myself. That's the regrets that one is going to
I know,
have,
I agree.
surely.
Well, to you,
So
no.
here's to the future.
To your futures.
Here's to living a bit more.
To your futures.
But Nigel and Sally Ann are not returning to London. With the seeds of adventure sown, they've decided to work their passage on a sailing boat.
These are your last moments.
There are some things that Reza certainly won't miss.
This is it? Michael, nous sommes prêts. How are you? Good morning. C'est matin.
Beautiful. Very good.
Come on.
Okay, here we go.
Hello.
This is Sally Ann, my girlfriend. Michael, he's the skipper.
Nice to meet you.
Bonjour.
This is Reza, my good friend.
We'll have a first stop in Minorque.
Nigel met the captain, Michael, through the ever-useful Manu when they visited Marseille.
Are you sure you're really up to this?
Of course I can't wait. I've sailed to the Caribbean before, and now I want to do it again properly. This is going to be fantastic.
And do you have...
This is my berth here.
Where's your sort of...
We have a generator.
Yeah.
Well, good luck. No, seriously.
Listen, you've been fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for all you've done.
Well, travel safely. And do send a postcard from wherever you are.
Bye, Rez.
Heaven knows what's going to happen to those two. Extraordinary.
Live at 5 on 4, Richard and Judy with West End singing star Connie Fisher. Next, two of the men who know the Hoobs inside out, literally. Master puppeteers in supporting acts.